Topic one. Should either politicians or parties put their support behind politically toxic causes? For instance, should a politician fight for gun law reform in a pro-gun state? Or should a Democratic president have come out for gay marriage before there was popular support? Are parties strictly for the purpose of putting political wins on the board, which means they should only support a sure bet? Or is there importance for parties to move the needle on unpopular issues? Yeah. So this is a thing. It's something we've argued about plenty of times, right? Whether like there's a whole list of these things, list of these issues that I'm sure you can always come up with that people have fought for, especially on the activist level, right? And we argue why aren't politicians doing this, or when they do this, we're like, why are they doing this? Because maybe this is popular, right? So I wanted to, like, what is really the purpose of these things, right? And should we expect politicians to take, for instance, like a brave stance? If this is like, if your principles lead you to believe this, should be taking a brave stance, even if the public is not there yet. All right, opening statements, keep them short. All right, we'll start Pisco.
Yeah, I think that it's very important for our constitutional system that certain politicians not be completely 100% responsive to input from the polity. That's one of the reasons why, for instance, the Senate has longer periods for election is precisely because our framers, and I think any good institutional designer, recognize that sometimes elected officials and representatives cannot just merely follow the whims of a polity that can, where favor can turn like the wind. And so I think that while I obviously think that elected officials should be somewhat responsive to democratic impulse, I don't think it should be perfectly mapped on. And what's more is I do think that elected officials have a duty and an ethical duty to try to move the country and their wherever their constituency is in a direction that is ethical. And they have a capability of doing so too. Just because our democracy is responsive, and just because elected officials tend to, by and large, sort of go along with the desires of their people, though not perfectly so, I think the inverse is true, and that politicians can have effect on their electorates. Just look at Donald Trump, who has had a massive effect, I think, in terms of political opinion in the Republican Party, and he himself has moved sort of their political desires as well. So it's a two-way street, and yes, elected officials should be responsive, but not perfectly so.
Thank you so much, Fanatic.
Yeah, I think Bernie Sanders is an amazing person for kind of pushing the Overton window. I don't like some of the leftists and some of the idiots that have come forward, but ultimately I do think that he kind of pushed a bunch of ideologies that I think were really good and were against the status quo. And so I think those sorts of things are beneficial, even if those things are not necessarily what's like whatever. But I do think that there is strategy that needs to be implemented, right? And there are plenty of times where a politician might vocalize something that can harm the party. We saw that when it came to the 2016 election with certain politicians kind of losing seats, or at least seeming like there was some backlash because of maybe their endorsement of some leftist policies, like defund the police and things like that. So ultimately, I think it's a great thing, but it does need to be done responsibly.
Thank you. Counterpoints.
Yeah, what Pisco said. It's both. I don't like saying it's one or the other. And on top of that, some of the most memorable and powerful things that have been done in American history have been done by people who are outside of the Overton window. If you think about Abraham Lincoln, if you think about, kind of as they brought up, like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders hasn't changed anything policy-wise, but at the same time, he shifted the Overton window in the American conversation. I don't think that it is enough for elected representatives just to be the passive, zeitgeist of poll research within their districts. I think that they should help form the culture. And this actually kind of goes exactly to the Trump example, where in the Trump example, we had a bunch of Republicans who are going along with the zeitgeist, whereas if they maybe took a stand or actually had some kind of principled position that didn't necessarily make sense from an electoral standpoint, maybe they could have helped mitigate some of the damage that we've seen over the past few years. So I'll leave it there, and I'm looking forward to the open.
Thank you. Destiny.
Yeah, same answers. I don't know if we're going to find a lot of disagreement here, but I mean, politicians in some ways are responsible for representing the will of their electorate, but depending on the seat that you hold or the position that you're in, you might be able to push politically a little bit more than somebody else can. I wish people would recognize this reality a little bit more. I don't expect Manchin to push a progressive agenda very much in the United States because he doesn't have the opportunity to, but AOC can definitely push much farther left than another politician could, and I think that type of pushing, even if it might not be safe for somebody in a vulnerable district to do, can still be valuable overall because it kind of shapes and moves the entire national discourse, and then eventually can get us closer to those policies. So yeah, I think it's cool when people are both kind of like politicians and political activists at the same time. It just depends on where their district is and the type of seat they hold.
Lucas.
I mean, so this idea that there have been political participants that have been staying true to their principles, it's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, Trump was ran as a pro-war president, and he still bombed the shit out of Yemen. Abraham Lincoln wasn't running against slavery. That wasn't one of the things that he wanted to abolish. But yeah, I mean, I think political people should definitely stay true to their principles. I'm a libertarian. One of the reasons that I'm a libertarian is because the Libertarian Party, even before it was popular around this country, they were defending, they were against police brutality. They were against broken windows police. Wait, no, sorry. What's it called? Jesus Christ, I forgot. Sorry. But yeah, basically, I think politicians should definitely stay true to their principles, and the reason they don't do it is because they don't really care about it. They don't really have principles, and they just say whatever they want. They have to say to get in office.
Kathy.
I don't think it's as doomer as people put it that way. I think politicians do actually have principles, and I think Destiny makes a good point in the sense that they have to represent their constituency. At the end of the day, politicians want to win. They want to get reelected, and the policies that win in places like the Bronx and New York 14th isn't going to be the same types of policies that win in like the West Virginia Senate. When we look at the current situation where the balance of power is like on such a razor thin edge, I think at that point it does become very critical and crucial as a party to emphasize that element of unity and trying to win seats over just trying to like push for your policies. But that's kind of like an edge case. Most of the time it's usually not like that. And I think as a politician, you do have an obligation to try and push for what's best for your community. I mean, that's why earmarking is a thing. That's why log rolling is a thing. Politicians do it all the time, and to suggest that politicians don't do that, or that they're only in it because they're just lying and they'll say whatever they want to get elected, that's just not true, unless we're implying that every single voter is just a dumbass.
Doobie.
I think I'm a little bit on the fence on this topic. I think on one hand, I agree that it's important for leaders to step up and to support good causes, even if there's like a good chance that they'll get backlash, because their voices on the national stage can be powerful catalysts for change. But on the other hand, I don't know if it would be like beneficial for someone like Obama to undermine his campaign by supporting like a politically volatile topic like gay marriage at the time he was running for election. That might have ended up with us having McCain in office, which would have probably been a really awful shit show. Even with the U.S.'s pre-Trump, right? We probably would have been bombing fucking Iran at the time if we'd ended up with something like that. So I'm like, right now it can be moved either way, but I'm leaning toward what seems to be the more pragmatic option, even if it's last principle.
Okay. Scott.
I think there are a couple interesting elements to this conversation. One of the questions that's kind of begged within the question itself is like, are we a democracy or are we a constitutional republic, right? And part of the point of being a constitutional republic is that politicians aren't necessarily beholden to like a kind of 51% or 60% majority of what their district supports or doesn't support, right? Before the 17th of the amendment, right? Like the framers of the Constitution. So I'm just fixing my camera a little bit. They understood this, and this is why the House of Representatives was supposed to be directly elected by the population, and part of the reason why the Senate was supposed to be elected by the states, right? It would make sure that the federal government didn't grow, that they respected states' rights, but also so that like things that might be ridiculous but are popular by the majority of people could be shut down, or things that might not necessarily be popular by the majority of people but are good from like a policy perspective would get boosted forward, right? of course, as an anarchist, I think it's all trash, right? But like you kind of have to work towards the direction that you want to go. I also think too that we're maybe having this conversation a little disingenuously about the American public voting for politicians. Sure, there are cults of personality like AOC or Trump or Bernie Sanders, right? That garner votes because of who they are. But a lot of people vote down party ticket, right? They don't even know who their senator is or who their House of Representatives member is, or especially their state people. And so the idea that you can stray too far away from the party politics and like not cause like some issues, right, is going to be some concern, because a lot of people are voting for a party and not necessarily voting for an individual. And obviously we can have some, more detailed discussions about that as the panel opens up.
Open panel.
God.
Just pushing back on one small thing. This is a bit of a deviation, but tiny thing. I just don't believe that Abraham Lincoln really pushed the Overton window. There was all sorts of conversations specifically about the abolition of slavery. There was entire abolition movement, which was largely Christian. But anyway, that had already been existing. I don't think Abraham Lincoln was specifically responsible for that.
I don't think the argument would be necessarily that he single-handedly moved it, but just that with the president, it maybe could have gone either way. Not to say that there wasn't some inevitability that we were moving in a certain direction in regards to slavery and everything in the United States, but maybe him being there at that time moved it. Somebody brought up the point, kind of comparable to that, to Obama, that if Obama was pushing things that were just big political points and maybe necessarily weren't the most popular, that we would have had McCain. I mean, we can argue that presidents do this when they throw their weight behind an agenda that might be divisive in the future. I think this is one of the reasons why presidents lose their houses so oftentimes in the second part of their term. You can arguably, the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, was why Obama lost his House majority after the passage of that, right? Because so much political capital was expended on that. Or I think I've heard things saying that the assault weapons ban provision in the 93 crime bill or whatever, affected Clinton's majorities in the House and Senate as well. So, I mean, I think there are times where people lean into something that they don't have to, but they choose to because either it's a political calculation or it is a value, and it still ends up costing them a bit in the future as well.
Obama also made some hard choices. If you read his book, he talks about how the decision to support the Afghanistan war, which he sort of recognized as the quote good war, it wasn't easy as a matter of being synchronized with the Democrats. And so I reject the notion that Obama was a pure populist, totally responsive to only popular opinions at the time. He made some hard choices, and indeed Obamacare itself, I think, was an act of political calculus, which ultimately hurt him in the elections. But looking at the options in front of us, I think in hindsight was the right choice.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point is if you only do what's politically expedient, you're going to be a toothless politician, and you might as well have not existed in the first place, besides being representative of some polling data. And when we think about I don't necessarily like great men in politics, but you can't deny the impacts of certain people. So while I'll admit that what is it, Abraham Lincoln might not have single-handedly started the abolition movement or whatever, I still think there's something to be said for the fact that it takes a little bit of balls to order an army into 50% of your country to basically slash and burn it in the name of politics. So that's where I think we've kind of become accustomed to wars being really far away, and kind of the consequences of political actions to be further away from us. But the truth is that these things do have a lot going on with them, and it's kind of easy to wash your hands of it and say fuck it, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I think that's a point of privilege for us that we're able to say that shit in this day and age.
Sure, I wasn't dismissing him having any importance or any relevance and all of that stuff. I'm just saying I don't think he pushed the Overton window per se. But sure, he had obviously all of the significance, the Emancipation proclamation that he signed was actually super duper important. His willingness to actually stay in the Civil War, all these things were really, really great things. His motivation was probably to preserve the Union, but ultimately it doesn't matter. He had an insane impact. So I wasn't pushing back against any of those things.
I'm curious, Fabian, and I guess Lucas as well. You guys must be extremely fearful of the tyranny of the majority. Would you, in America, be in favor of moving away from direct election of senators? You mentioned that, Fabian.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would personally be in favor of repealing the 17th Amendment. Yeah.
This is the one where your state legislative bodies used to appoint the senators, right? Instead of it being
Yes.
Dude, is there an argument against that? This is kind of off topic. That seems so base because it seems like it makes you way more invested in your state level elections as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think
That was the goal of it. Yeah.
I mean, the repeat the repeal. I'm sorry, the instantiation of the 17th Amendment eventually led to the 1990s kind of. Oh my God, who was the big Republican that was up against Bill Clinton? That was the majority leader. Oh my gosh.
Newt Gingrich?
Yes, Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich understood because of that what we could do is we could make local elections national, right? That was how he took in 1994 or 92. Sorry, the off-year election after 94. So the off-year election after Clinton, right? He realized that what we needed to do was start pushing national politics at a local stage. And because we have become so divested from local politics, most people don't even vote in local elections because they feel like it has no relevance to them, despite the fact that local elections are way more important to their lives, right? It's almost like psychologically, it's almost the exact opposite because most people aren't that invested in politics. And I think the reason I bring that up is because I believe that the founding fathers understood that they were trying to craft a government that kind of had like every element of like Plato's, ideal government types, right? Like you have the philosopher king in the executive presidency, right? Like you have the democracy within the House. You have kind of like the oligarchy in a sense in the Senate, right? And so it's supposed to be not just a balance of like, checks and balances between different houses of government or between the federal and the state level, but also between different types of government, right? That was part of the idea of having an unelected Senate, but mostly it was there to preserve states' rights, right? To keep the federal government from getting too large.
Can I challenge that for a moment? I mean, are you really putting the fact that we have been more worried, and I agree with you that like I would say that people more identify in terms of their national citizenship than their state citizenship. Are you putting that on the heels of repealing the fact that we have direct elections of senators? I mean, or that we enacted that amendment?
We could have like a whole fucking like 3-hour discussion on the 17th Amendment, and I'm sure that would be fascinating, right? I know I'm not putting it solely on the heel of one thing. I'm saying it's one factor, right?
I think that was coming no matter what. The Civil War, I think.
I mean, yeah, no, before the Civil War, for example, people used to say that they were from Virginia. Now they say from the United States. As a matter of fact, the vocabulary of the United States changed. People used to say the United States of America are a good place to live. And then after the Civil War, they said the United States of America is a good place to live, right? So, I mean, obviously the Civil War probably had more of an impact. I'm simply mentioning one thing
but I think
there. And I'm not even talking about people identifying. That was something Destiny brought up, not what I brought up. I'm talking about the fact that people are invested, whether or not they're invested in local elections and their relevancy, and whether or not they're more invested in federal elections.
But you are in favor of repealing that amendment, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that what that would produce is just an enormous shift of a balance of power, even more than it is already, to rural voters who are already being able to take advantage of, I think, totally unjustifiable gerrymanders and the kind of finagling in the states just on the nth degree. And I think we already have way too much sort of disproportionate power in the hands of rural voters in this country.
I mean, you could say that, and that'd be interesting, and I'd love to debate you on that. But again, that strays away from the topic of the question at hand, which is the idea of whether or not politicians should be supporting things that are necessarily toxic to their candidacy or differing from their party, right? And the reason I bring this up is an idea that this is one of the things that inspired the founding fathers and the framers of the Constitution to create the Senate separate from direct elections.
Yeah, but I would say nowadays, a lot of the country, I would say including the presidency, are not responsive enough to democracy. Some of these, I think, archaic systems in place that the framers constructed, such as the Electoral College.
Wait, are you in favor of direct democracy?
I mean, in terms of the presidency, I'm very much against the Electoral College. I think it's absolutely unjustifiable.
Yeah, I mean that's just fucking cope because you don't like the way the country is done. No one with it that's actually seriously thought about it wants presidents only in Eastern Seaboard major cities.
Yeah,
campaigning.
That's not what the Electoral College.
Giving a fuck about rural areas.
That's not, I mean, that's not what the Electoral College doesn't seem to do. What do you think the Electoral College does?
I mean, it's to instantiate that rural individuals and people from smaller states have more power in our election processes.
It's smaller
so that we don't.
states. It's smaller states.
Yeah.
And so rural voters in
Which tend to be
California,
rural voters.
but it's not based on that. It's based on the fact that you're a small state. You proportionally get more votes.
Pisco's already apparently trying to practice being a prosecutor, man, because he's ready to fight ghosts and get away from the topic. Like,
Well,
What do
I
you
think
mean?
I think it's a little bit unfair to say that the Electoral College is like a necessary institution that needs to exist to protect like rural interests when we already have like the Senate, right? You can argue that there's a lot of overlap there in terms of what they accomplish because the Senate also automatically disproportionately favors smaller states, but the Senate explicitly disproportionately favors smaller states, which you can argue is good or bad. The Electoral College doesn't necessarily do that because doesn't necessarily favor like rural voters as you would claim you'd want it to, because Pisco said, rural voters in California aren't getting any more representation, or rural voters in any solidly blue state aren't getting any more representation. I think there's legitimate arguments on both sides of that.
And the topic is really the essence of the topic is about the responsiveness of our elected officials to the polity, and what this does is shift essentially who the polity is, and how much say each member of whatever polity you're talking about gets. And so I think the Electoral College is relevant to the essence of the question.
Yeah, and FLS, like, I don't think we should rigidly stick to the topic if we all fucking agree. If we can go onto a fucking tangent where we start yelling at each other, I think that's fine.
I have some disagreements with the topic, right? I think I introduced this idea that like most Americans are voting down party ticket, right? They're voting because someone has a D or an R next to their name. Right, most people don't live in AOC's district. Right?
This is like a creationist fallacy or whatever kind of, where like people exist on the planet Earth, because God made them to be, rather than, well, maybe people developed to exist on Earth because that's how the Earth is, right? When you say that like everybody happens to vote for the same party, sure, that's true, but that's because people in the same party also tend to share the same beliefs as well, right? So we can't just say that people only down ballot vote because they're only looking for the DDR, and even if they are,
it's not a creationist fallacy.
Well, even if
Look at Virginia right now.
Yeah, because even if that's true that they do down ballot vote, which they do a lot, they could be because there's shared beliefs there,
which is the majority of voters.
Sure, right. but that also there are breaks from that as well, and we saw that in the last election cycle where there were districts that Trump like massively carried where that down ballot effect didn't happen, or there were districts where Biden won where that down ballot effect did not happen as much too. So I think people will break there.
You're talking about a small group of independent voters, right? But what I'm saying is a majority of Americans, right? And
the majority of Americans
conceded this. A majority of Americans support a political party, and they tend to support that political party almost no matter who.
Sure, but let's just think about what you're saying. A majority of Americans that would vote for a Democratic president would also vote for like a Democratic governor, or a Democratic House of Representatives, or a Democratic congressman, or a Democratic senator, right? That's to be expected, right? Like that, we would expect to see that. Even if everybody was analyzing every single individual politician.
Right, but we know from exit polls, right? Like it's a commonly known thing. Like let's not pretend that this isn't
a commonly known thing.
Where people go to a presidential election, they vote for president, and they have no fucking idea who the rest of the people are that they're voting. And that's a large portion of the American public, right? They're just voting because they believe in a party's platform, at least to a certain extent, right? And so when you deviate heavily from that party platform, right, in a certain way, you do have to understand that you're going to catch shit, right? Because you may actually be deviating from what the electorate voted you for.
Talk to Hamilton. Talk to Mason. I mean, these are the framers.
Don't go to someone's website and look at their fucking positions.
This has been the case for centuries.
So then these voters aren't just like voting down ballot blindly. Clearly, if someone strays from the platform too far, they're going to be moving from it. We saw it with Nina Turner. We saw it with that India Walton person in Buffalo who completely lost to a fucking write-in candidate from a guy who retired because they absolutely hated her platform, even though she was Democrat.
Outliers. I don't think voters is not an argument against.
But the fact that there is such strong sways between someone being Democrat versus a literal write-in candidate, I think goes to show that voters are not as absolutely fucking stupid people. If anything, as these elections get more and more local, where there's less turnout,
I didn't say that.
Nobody said that they were stupid. You are always fighting ghosts. Why are you saying that he said that voters are stupid? He never said that.
I mean, we're implying that voters just kick down and go fucking down ballot all the time. They're not fucking capable of actually thinking.
That doesn't mean they're stupid.
They weren't capable, Gappy. I'm talking about the reality.
I mean,
this is why socialists never fucking get anything done, because they don't live in the real world.
You cited the framers.
The real world.
You cited the framers, Madison, who is, I think, a very important framer so far as the Constitution is concerned. He thought that political parties were inevitable, that, of course, if you have shared interests are stronger together. What's the apes strong together? That's the line. And so he, at least for him, he tried to limit faction. If you read the Federalist Papers, he tried to do what he could to limit the effective faction, the effective political parties, but they were in some sense inevitable. And right after Washington's presidency, already it was breaking down, and the party's system was emerging. And it continues to
I do
this
think
day.
it's important to people that aren't, maybe that aren't American or anything. When talking about the Federalist Papers, a lot of them are propaganda. Not to say like that's necessarily a negative thing, but the Federalists are arguing for a version of the Constitution. The Anti-Federalists are arguing for another, right? So it's not necessarily the same as like letters to other individuals about their thoughts or their diaries or things like that, right? Like they're kind of putting their best foot forward in terms of supporting their political stance in the Federalist Papers.
I mean, this is going to be basically, that's a description of almost all political writings to some extent, right? Like even we could say in personal letters or people
fair and frame it.
Sure.
Did you thought that the Federalist Papers were infallible and that it actually is a truth of the universe, that
like a treatise on the thoughts of Madison or whatever
you cited the framers and their ingenuity in perfecting and crafting the system, and I'm merely suggesting to you.
I'm an anarchist.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, at least you pointed their ingenuity as a reason, as a rationale for why it made sense to have this split between the Senate and the House of Representatives. All I'm saying is it seems like a lot of countries have a tendency toward political parties, and I don't know that that's inherently a horrible thing, so long as you try to sort of limit the horrible externalities that I would agree with you, I think, are present, which include I'm
just trying to get to the nuanced position that, like, a political party, like when people say, oh, it's okay for people to stray away from a political party, right, and follow their principles. I mean, I'm all for it, right? Like, my ethics are virtue ethics and deontological. Like, I'm not a consequentialist, right? Like, I don't give a fuck about going to the party platform. At the same time, I do think it's important to understand that a lot of American voters, right, they feel intrinsically tied to a political party in terms of what they want their politics doing, and not necessarily to individuals, right? And so when certain people break away, you get this idea, and you see it from people on social media, or when it's the left, and they do it in news or outlets, organizations, right? This idea of like calling a politician a traitor. Right. And it's like, because a Republican decided to vote for a bump stock bill, or because a Democrat decided that like they didn't want to vote for a healthcare bill because they're like, dude, I'm in fucking West Virginia. Like, that's not going to fucking fly. Or they're just principled and like they're a blue dog Democrat or a 90s Democrat, and they're a little different. Right. You see this idea of like, oh, they're a traitor to the party, because a lot of people do feel. Yeah, I mean, like Destiny himself showed up in fucking Georgia. He's not from Georgia. What fucking right does he have to do to campaign in Georgia?
Do you think that was an immoral action for him to go there?
Because he thought it was an important election that was going to affect him, despite the fact that he didn't live in Georgia, right? So a lot of people have ideas. And was it because he deeply believed in the candidates, right? Was it because Destiny just knew these people personally? No, he went there because he thought the Democrats were better than the Republicans, right? And
well, hold on. To be clear, I went there because the office that he's representing is a federal level office,
a national office.
Yeah,
right, exactly. So it affects you, right? And it affects you in some way, despite you not even being a part of that electorate.
Well, but I am a part of. Well, I think that's kind of a weird thing in terms of am I part of that electorate or not? Because we're talking about like national level offices, right? Like I might not be a member of that state, but like the national.
I'm not
offices,
trying to talk shit on you, Dustin.
Sure. No, I know you're not. I'm just saying that like I think that there is. I think the interest is there is a bit different than like electing somebody on like a state level election or like a city level election. I think it's a bit different, but.
Right. So, but we're talking about the renegade from the party, or whether or not people support the party.
Yeah, but I think that so the renegade stuff happens more. I think the reason why people feel that renegade stuff happens more is because on a national level, we run into some of the problems where if you are a Democrat or a Republican, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're aligning 100% with Democrats or Republicans from across the country, because these Democrats and Republicans are delivered from very different electorates, sometimes even within their own states. A good example is Mark Kelly and Sinema they're from Nevada, right? Or Arizona? Nevada? Arizona. I think Arizona, right? Where you have these...
LA for Arizona.
Yes. Okay. You have these... you have two senators who are both Democrats and both from that state, but their electorates are the people that vote for them, their supporters are very different, right? Where Mark Kelly is like a solidly left-leaning person, and Sinema is absolutely not, but the composition of their voters and the favorability and unfavorability from like Republicans, Independents, and Democrats are way different between the two, and that's even within the same state. Sorry.
Right, but what I'm saying is that there's sorry, I'll let Counter go. Don't chimp out on us, Counter. All right?
Hey, listen.
Not yet.
Pisco asked me why I was an angry
It's too
guy,
early.
and I
It's
was
too
like,
early. Get
"What?
going, Counter.
Why are you an infuriating person?" You know, I think it cuts both ways. But like, no. So okay, so this is kind of where I think we're landing on this, though, is the fact that like it seems like everybody wants to encourage the renegades because we feel like the system is like entrenched in like all of this bullshit. But it also feels like the second that you stick it, the second that you stick your head out or whatever, you get it chopped off. And all I've heard for like the past like 10 or 15 minutes is all the reasons why people don't venture too outside the box because there's like shit going on. But then that's kind of the question about like democracy or Republican democracy or any of that kind of stuff. Is it responsive enough to crisis? So if you look at the global war on terror, if you look at the drug war, or if you look at global warming, is like representative mixed economy capitalism mixed with like representative democracy, is this system up to the challenges of crises that we're seeing? Are we actually going to be able to rise above, or are we kind of fucked because basically every single time that a politician reaches out in order to break the mold, they just get their dick slapped? Like that's kind of my question: is the system even responsive enough to all these problems?
I mean, you got two anarchists on the panel. Like, obviously, no.
I mean, the reason why they're getting their dick slapped right now is because it's so tight right now in terms of control between Democrats and Republicans, right? When we're talking about things like the things like the repeal on Obamacare, the reason why it was so difficult and why, that turn vote no from John McCain was so serious was because of the fact that the Republicans didn't have some huge, insanely high majority where they were instantly going to pass that AHCA. It's a double-edged sword because on one hand, when you renegade in the situation like McCain did, it's so much easier for you to have so much power in the same way that Manchin did. But it also does fuck over your party, right? If we want more people to renegade and just be like, fuck it, I want to fight for whatever policies I want, the real solution is to just get a really fucking strong majority, and then from there we can do whatever the fuck we want in Congress.
But we don't agree on shit. Like that.
I have
that's
another solution.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys are just supporting the wrong fucking party.
I mean, like we can say that, but like this is
on the right side.
Yeah, but nobody.
Yeah.
I think the big problem is, and this is something I'll simp for over and over again. I think the big problem is that our political system is actually incredibly effective. Everything is working exactly as they should. The problem is that there exists. The reason why government seems so ineffective is because there is a very real polarization that exists right now in the American people that seems to be growing wider and wider apart. And if you have a government that is supposed to only be able to move, not with 51% of Americans supporting it, but in some cases it might be 60 people in the Senate supporting it. Might be a majority in the House and Senate. It might be a president that won't veto something, right? If you're actually going to have a government set up like this, then having like the pendulum swinging from 51-49, 51-49, where people are so diametrically opposed on fucking everything, isn't going to be enough to get anything passed. And maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe those polarization problems that exist in society, that's what needs to be addressed, rather than trying to find some system that makes it so that like 50.001% of the people can immediately enact all sorts of widespread changes that are just going to be rolled back and 180'd on the next election cycle.
Are you for the divorce, Destiny? Are you for the peaceful divorce?
There is no such thing as a peaceful divorce. It's not even a, yeah.
Come on.
What is this?
The idea that like one of the things that makes America like work so fucking well is the fact that we have 50 independent states that have such an insane level of integration economically and geopolitically. The idea of like starting to split that up and to destroy like one of the most important aspects of what makes this country so powerful is so mind-numbingly stupid to me. And it doesn't even make sense. Like who's going to leave? Like the red states that can't financially support themselves, or that's just it's a beyond a stupid idea. I don't know anybody that is actually floating this idea seriously, unless it's one of you guys because you're ANCAP. But I'll still say the same.
There's tons of people floating that idea.
Yeah, it's absolutely ludicrous. There's like a million different reasons why it wouldn't work.
But hey, do you think that it's fair to say that maybe things aren't working so smoothly when there are like large amounts of position? I don't know about large amounts, but there are things that like super duper majority of Americans agree on, but we still can't get past.
I don't think that's true. People say that a lot, that there's things that lots of Americans agree on that we can't pass. But I think what happens is broadly speaking, we agree on things, but when you start to get more and more granular, that's where all the disagreements start to come out. I think a really, really good example of this could be healthcare, but we could go to the East and we could say a really good example of this is Brexit, where you barely had over half the country supporting Brexit, But nobody knew what the fuck that looked like. And in the following years, and even still arguably to today, people are trying to figure out, well, what exactly does Brexit look like? So you might be able to say, well, broadly speaking, most people support this. Okay, but they support what exactly? Because like there's a lot of different granular approaches to policy. And when you start running into all these disagreements there, you find out that you don't have nearly as much support as you thought you did initially. So I reject that framing that Americans broadly support on some things that can't get passed. I just don't think that happens.
What do you have to say, Destiny, about the outsized influence that small states have in this union in our national policy, just based on the fact that Senate votes are allocated proportionally to states? And
I
not
love
people?
it so fucking much. I
How
love
is
the
it
fact that
justifiable?
every single state in this country has a buy-in, and that every other state has a buy-in to at least keep in mind the other states when it comes to our electoral process. That I think. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
it's
I-
very simple. It was to try and stop the tyranny of the majority.
No, but
Right? I mean,
doesn't-
democracy is tyrannical, and we know that. Right? The framers knew that.
I don't agree that we should be responsive we should be responsive in our policy that like one person can have an outsized majority, can have an influence of a tyranny of the minority as opposed to tyranny of the majority.
I feel like
The
this
thing that
system
they-
works so well. Even the European Union, with the way that the European Commission and the members of Parliament of European Parliament are structured in the exact same way. Where even if you have your
European Union's
MEPs,
trash, and you know it.
Okay. Even if you have your MEPs, your members of the European Parliament that are elected like the House, where different countries get different numbers of people, that I believe that European Commission has one person from every single state, right? Or you'll see even in the United Nations for the Security Council, like one person can have a veto power. I think the idea that you're getting
These are different nations, Destiny, and you said yourself that America, in that sense, is unique, and that we're integrated in a level that I think Europe is
They're
not.
different nations, but okay. So hopefully there's no alt-righters watching for the Jewish conspiracy theory, right? The goal of the European Union is akin to something similar to the United States, right? You're trying to get a unified currency. Tell me if this sounds like the United States. Everybody's on a single currency. Everybody's running on the same monetary policy. The borders aren't enforced between countries because the Schengen area allows for free travel, and you're all part of a unified market that doesn't write its own legislation per country in order to trade with outsiders, right? The European Union is akin to something like the United States, right?
Destiny. There's one giant difference, Destiny, which is that
Globalists.
MEPs might be able to propose legislation under certain circumstances, but the fact of the matter is that the council can just do that whenever they find that they can, and MEPs have very little power in that regard.
Yeah, but you can argue the exact same thing.
Authoritarian in its
No,
structure.
hold on. That you just described the United States, right?
No, the president
No.
doesn't get to fucking propose legislation and
Oh,
then
hold on.
allow
No.
Congress
Okay.
to vote on it, and then just wait until the Congress is
So-
fitting whatever the council says.
Sure.
Right?
So
it's a very different.
That is
system
it's
of
the
governance.
exact same thing. So number one, presidents absolutely.
It's not the exact
It
same
is the exact same
thing,
thing. Because number
you're
one,
being
I can
silly.
tell you why. Okay.
Set legislative agendas.
Number one, president can have legislative agendas. Number two, who the fuck cares what the House is passing if you can't get it passed through the Senate, right? We might argue that, well, there's a process by which you can write and pass legislation from the House, and that happened a lot under Trump. Pelosi was fucking rocketing so much legislation out of the House, but who the fuck cares? If you don't have a Senate, which is our version of the commission, to pass that legislation, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Maybe in name it does. Like, cool, we got a lot
But
of
the
like
powers that be don't fucking decide who our senators are, right? Our senators are
think you-
elected after the 17th Amendment, and before the 17th Amendment, they're chosen by the states. It's uniquely different from a deontological position. It's uniquely different because of the ideas of individual liberty, or the liberty of those nations. That's why Brexit left. Brexit didn't leave because they were pissed off about their fisheries, right? I mean, you can make an argument that 20 or 30% of the population was pissed off about immigration, right? That like clearly was a large motivational force for Brexit. But a lot of it comes down to ideals, enlightenment principles that we've lost in our nation.
Okay,
right?
so
Like,
I don't. Well, okay, but without getting into the weird philosophical stuff, right? So the people from the European Commission are elected members from the members of the European Parliament, right? So these are like the people you get elected by these member states, right? Now it would be akin to, I think, like our House of Representatives. Like once you elect them, they appoint in a representative manner somebody from the House of Representatives to the Senate. But I think that it's pretty similar at the end of the day with how it functions.
With the issue being that Brussels, Germany, and France have essentially all the power in that system.
Wait, hold on.
Right?
No. But the European Council is one member per state.
Pisco's point, right? It would be like our issue here in America multiplied by 100, right? It would be like if California, New York, and Texas got to decide who our senators were.
For things to pass through EU legislation to pass, don't you need the sign off of the commission that has one member per state in that commission?
Yeah.
So how is that different from that's essentially our system now? No?
It's not.
But do you agree with this at scale?
You're reducing it, right, and then trying to say that they're the same thing as an apology for the EU, as a means of saying why Brexit was like stupid or something.
No, hold on.
right? Like,
Okay, Brexit was stupid for a whole bunch of other reasons.
far.
I'm not. What I'm just saying
Trying
is
to say
that
things are the same that are similar.
what
and
I'm
that's just
saying
not
is
true.
that okay, maybe they're not exactly the same. They're close enough though that they may as well be. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that
but okay.
anytime you've got a ton of different things or organizations coming together, and these things have different populations within them, it seems to be the case that from an institutional point of view, it's good to give a one vote per type of thing. Otherwise, you wind up in areas where some of these entities that have joined that don't have as many people are completely and totally irrelevant. That's the only thing that
Can we push you on that, Destiny? Can we push you on that? So suppose that everyone from Kansas, everyone in the country, except for 10 individuals in the rest of the states moves to California. Do you then think it still makes sense to maintain the same amount of senators per state in those polities?
I think it gets.
And if you say you couldn't run those states without a few people, just put in the minimum number of citizens it takes.
Yeah, so that would be my thing, because
state.
like at that point you could literally toss those states into the ocean and they wouldn't matter. But if you had the minimum number of people to run those states, yeah, I think that having every state bought in to your national legislative agenda is really important. I don't like the idea that all those states just become irrelevant because they don't have the population there to support the national agenda. But
at no amount of scale. I mean, suppose that they're just a billion people live in California, and they have.
Why are you like just Destiny? Just dismiss with the argument because it's absurd. That's not happening.
What
Well, no. It's a, no.
You're
Hold on,
taking
wait.
the
It's
argument
a
to
good.
an
No, it's a good
extreme
point.
conclusion.
No, it's a good point because California probably
it's a
has the
fucking trolley
population.
problem.
No,
It's like, what if
it's not?
you
No,
kill
it's not a
1
trolley problem.
million
Hold on,
people?
it is a real thing that exists right now in the United States. What isn't it like a Wyoming voter has like 13 or 18 times the voting power as like a California voter? Like this is a thing that exists right now. It's not even a hypothetical. Like this is our current system. So I think it's worth addressing like the relative imbalances when you look at an institution like the Senate or the Electoral College when it comes to establishing our legislative body in the United States.
But it sounds like no
that's
amount of
also why we have the
imbalance would change the needle for you, Destiny.
As long as everything is functional, no, not for me.
There are movements in certain states to split their states into multiple
To
pieces.
get more power. I've heard that.
Yeah. So what do you think about that kind of gamesmanship? And suppose that everyone was on board in the relevant state, or the majority
that's
of
a
that
really.
state was
I
on
don't know
board.
I don't know how that process is looking. That's
You need to have
interesting-
Not that
Congress.
bad. You know what we could do? We could have a peaceful divorce in
No,
California.
no one is having a divorce. That can't happen.
Okay, can I address this really quick?
Destiny wants to force the other states into being.
You know what I'm saying? California can be its country, and the rest of us can have our own.
Okay, but there's actually like a moral argument that I don't think I brought up before with Pisco, which I don't know if he's going to care about, but I don't think we've discussed it before, which is basically like you're looking for the consent of those smaller people who potentially feel fucked over. So for instance, if we're talking about the EU, you could talk about like Hungary or Austria or Poland or any of these other countries who are either part of the EU or part of NATO, but they have like a disproportionate influence because of their like geopolitical or geographic history or something like that. Same thing in the United States with like Kansas or North Dakota or Nebraska or whatever. Part of the way that like when you have controversial legislation that comes through the fucking like the federal body is you say like, hey guys, this got passed with like a very clear like majority, 51 to 60% or something like that, and on top of that we already rigged the game for you, so your vote was worth 3 times that of the major member states. So I know that you were concerned about bullying, but this is the contract that we already signed, and as a result you're just going to have to abide by the rules because you got outvoted and you're just going to have
But
to
I'm not worried about the
fucking
tyranny of the majority right now, Connor. I'm worried about the tyranny of the minority. And I think that these Destiny might have been right, I think, in the buildup of the nation, where you really wanted buy-in from the smaller states, especially in a time when there wasn't this national character that exists today. But the extent to which we needed that two-state buy-in, and remember, that was a fickle thing back then, given the Civil War. I think that the need for that has lessened, that there is a national character that people buy into, that we all mentioned at the start of this. And we don't need
into toxic causes that politicians take as opposed to their political party or their constituency.
I'm sorry. Let's focus on the topic that everyone wanted to move off of. I mean,
because banning the electoral college would be toxic.
I'm just curious.
This is just silly. You're myopically focused on the single manifestation of a core essence of an idea, which is responsiveness of democracies, and you only want to talk about one particular manifestation of that issue, and an issue that was boring to all of us, and that topic we had already sort of fulfilled the conversation after openings. Do you really want us to go back to that? We all said sometimes they should be responsive and sometimes they shouldn't be. What else is there to say?
Well, there is something to be said for sticking to the topics in a debate or
Oh,
Carrie-
fuck that. You're both
I'll
lawyers.
say this. I'll
Fucking
say this.
lawyers,
Like,
shut
what are you
up.
talking about? Like,
We
You're
wander
such a
all
good
the
moderator,
time.
man. Holy shit. Thank you, Scott.
what
for
else
making
is there
sure
to
this
be
is
asking
on
the
topic.
question,
Oh
right?
my
Like,
god.
Guys.
I want to ask.
So hey, so guys, we like wander off all the time, right? Whatever you find the most interesting, we'll talk about that. Doesn't matter.
Is it fair that Pisco like single-handedly brought us to this topic, though? I don't know. Did we want to talk about it? I'm so sorry. I'm done.
Like, I mean, I personally don't.
it
Yeah,
out there,
this is
man.
what.
Like, I'm not married.
This
to it.
is
I was just like,
I
hey.
literally. I don't.
Destiny just moved me. Let's change back just to frustrate
Does
people.
anyone here
Yeah,
think that politicians should only look at opinion polls and then just do whatever the opinion polls say? Everyone
feel like
agrees
they
that
do
it,
that anyways.
to some extent. Okay, so then what more is there to talk about on that issue? No one here is
I
saying.
mean, we could talk about the fact that you guys are supporting the wrong fucking parties, but whatever.
Is that the same topic as whether or not, in general, you should always adhere to non-toxic political
Listen,
positions?
Pisco,
very least it's
he just
standard.
gave you an opportunity to make fun of the Libertarian Party for the
No,
next
he's
20
talking
minutes.
shit,
I
and
say we all take him up
wandering,
on
and he
it.
wants to wander too.
Wait, can I
I'm
ask a
not
question?
talking shit.
Wait, actually,
when
Pisco, one second.
do people in third parties, okay? When do people in third parties concede that maybe their initiatives just aren't popular with the public, rather than making 4 million excuses for why the public just hasn't realized how good their initiatives are yet? When does that happen?
Probably because the Democrats have co-opted most of the fucking libertarian.
Let's talk about ANCAP policies. Let's talk about how you're going to
Wow,
enforce
Democrats
your
are trying to
private
pass
contracts.
policies that are popular. Who would have fucking guessed? What do you
Let's have
No,
Faye
I'm just saying.
let's discuss
I mean,
the
it goes
political
exactly
of
to
your
Destiny's question.
ANCAP positions and how functional they
Pisco,
are.
we're trying to get to Destiny's question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I know you're trying to be a lawyer, but
Yeah,
we're
if
trying to get there.
they just heard the ANCAP argument
were
about the
just-
age of consent, they'd be pulled over immediately, right?
See?
I mean,
Yeah.
no. Well, I mean, we're talking about things like, how, like, for example, the Libertarian Party was against fuck, I always forget what it's called. Scott, the broken windows policing thing we were talking about earlier.
Let's stop.
You're talking about substantive political
yes.
policies. You're talking about substantive political policies instead of the system that you want. I mean, I would never, if I'm trying to like talk about institutions and how I want to build my society, talk about substantive political. That's a conversation afterwards. First, you talk about how you want to set up your structures, and then you get into substantive policy. It seems weird to say, oh, my party was right about one thing, therefore my system of government is correct.
Pisco, relax for a second. What I'm saying, right, is that politicians in many ways are beholden to their political parties, right? And so, yes, there are some politicians that stray from time to time, but maybe it's time that we start having a conversation about how trash many of the Democrat and Republican parties' platforms are. And maybe the issue isn't so much about how much we want to find renegade AOC or Donald Trump individuals, right? But maybe we should be, I don't know, supporting third parties because their platforms actually support.
What is a
Did
third?
you just say that Democrats are beating over libertarians because they co-opted libertarian policies?
Yeah,
I didn't
hold
say
on,
that,
it's-
Gappy. That was just
That's
you.
part of
that's
it.
You trying
Okay,
to like
hold
get some
on.
clout,
But can we also talk about how like because smaller parties are like sometimes small and disorganized and niche, they also attract people who like basically don't fit into the mainstream. So for instance, at like the Libertarian Party convention, I think of like 2016 or 2020, there was a fucking naked dude who fucking walked up on stream, and they also booed one of their representatives because he said that he wanted driver's licenses and he wanted to regulate whether or not children
It
could
wasn't
go
2016, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, or whether or not children could do heroin. And as a result, I don't think like so. For instance, if at my main party convention, basically people were booing like driver's licenses or whether or not children could do heroin, I would say maybe we need to get our shit together so we're more taken seriously by the broader public than fuck all of y'all. You love our ideas, but you just fucking steal it and then run away with them.
I mean,
I don't know why everyone's in this idea that like I'm coping that like the Democrats stole ideas. I'm simply saying that the Libertarian Party, right, most of their large platform ideas in the 70s and 80s are now the DNC's positions, right? Like being anti-war. Libertarians have always been anti-war. Being against the drug war.
All you're doing here is making an argument. All you're doing is
UBI.
Based on
this-
what's most popular.
Yeah,
It's
these
almost
arguments-
like the policies change on that.
And these arguments right now are making strong arguments for why two-party systems not only are incredibly resilient and strong, but maybe even should be. Because what you're showing right now is that if there are ideas that become slightly popular in third parties, that they will just be co-opted and represented in the larger main two political parties. So what's the problem?
I don't
with that point?
disagree with that. I don't disagree with that, and I'm not saying that's wrong.
You should though, because they only adopt them symbolically in order to gain the fucking base, and then they actually don't follow. Democrats Anti-war? Come on,
mean,
like are we serious here?
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Come on.
Which one is it?
Wait, hold on, wait. Why do we say come on when we compare like what the fuck? Like Bush got us into fucking Afghanistan
Yeah, well,
and
Republicans
Iraq, and
aren't
like
anti-war either.
What?
Republicans aren't anti-war either.
Which is it? Are Democrats anti-war, or were you wrong about saying they co-opted the libertarian position?
Both pro-war.
Okay, so
Republicans and Democrats are both pro-war.
Then why did you say that we co-opted their position if they're pro-war? Didn't you just say that they took the libertarians' anti-war stance? You were wrong about that, right?
No,
You just said they're pro-war.
It's
No,
what
there's a
Counterpoint
difference
was saying.
between rhetoric. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I said. Pisco.
Oh, sorry, did you say that they took the libertarian peace position? Did you say that?
You're conflating.
Yes,
two
lawyer.
Did you say that? Okay, you did say that, and now you just said they're pro-war, right?
Pisco, I'm not taking your bullshit cloud chasing where you're going to take what I'm saying, right? And then just
Words you say and see if they're
What you
not consistent.
chasing,
Like,
it's
you're
cross-examination.
statements
That's what
and
it
then
is.
trying to add them together, right? I said the libertarians were on the right.
How do you possibly look at those two things and say they're consistent? That the
I'm
Democrats
not an idiot, Pisco.
Okay, so explain to me how peace and war have come together to form a
straw man of shit I didn't say. Just fucking.
Didn't you say the Democrats
Hey, can
took the? Did you say that? Will you answer the question if you said that?
Pisco.
You didn't say that.
I
Okay.
said the libertarians were on the right side of history, and then I said that they've taken and co-opted some positions.
Like peace, right?
Two
Like
different
peace.
statements.
Like peace.
Yes.
Did you mention peace? Who else heard peace here?
Oh my
I don't
God.
think
God.
everyone heard
Pisco.
peace.
Okay, he's
Pisco,
okay. Peace,
back
to
up
answer
and
your
listen.
question. No, FLS, real quick. So, okay, but what I'm saying, which I think FLS agrees with, is that Democrats have used libertarian positions rhetorically in order to be popular, widespread. But when you actually look at their policies, they don't actually implement a libertarian agenda, or at least not as much of a libertarian agenda as actual libertarians.
Then those ideas were never that
You
popular.
didn't say that.
That's it. It's as simple as that.
Wait, what?
Then those ideas were just never that popular. People didn't give a fuck enough about them to actually see them implemented. Then they must not have mattered that much.
Since we're talking about war's a great
that's
example.
100%.
I'm sorry. So just let me. I'm giving free.
But we ignored that one. And then Fabian, I also don't think it really makes a whole bunch of sense to talk about like, oh well, we had a position back in the '70s and now it's being adopted now by the. We saw complete party shifts,
because they're pro-war.
in the 40s and the 60s, right? Like we saw crazy party shifts between the Republican and the Democratic Party. You can't then like you're basically doing what the Republicans do, and they say, well, the Democrats were really the ones that were pro-slavery. Like you're supporting the
No,
pro-slavery.
I'm not. You're just taking me out of context, right?
Well,
Like
can you
for
explain
example,
it?
I'll give you an example. Right, 1972, when the party was formed in 1971. 1972, the presidential candidate was a black, openly gay man, and the VP was a female Jew. Right?
Yeah.
The Democrats and the Republicans wouldn't do that for another 40, 50 years.
Right. No. That's exactly what I'm talking about, and this is exactly why this is such a.
But I'm not
stupid
saying
argument.
one party is.
This is exactly. Oh, this is exactly why this is such a stupid
not.
argument. Because if you look at something and you look at something back in the 70s, and then you look at all of the social progression that's happened from then till now, then obviously you're going to get an entirely different, like practical party now. This is why you can have like a running mate, Kamala Harris be a running mate now, because we're in an entirely different society. And entirely different world. So if you only look at the party itself, then it almost is like you're ignoring all of the other externalities that could have led to these differences.
Maybe I'm framing it improperly. What I'm trying to say is that maybe we are in some way to blame as voters, right, for constantly taking these compromise votes. Right? The same way politicians compromise with their parties and their constituency. And instead, we should be looking at things from a principled position. Right? And if you're a Green Party person, you're a Green Party person, right? If those are your principles, those are your principles. But I think what is happening is that a lot of people end up voting Democrat or voting Republican, right? Because they just think, well, at least it's better than the other party. And they're refusing their principles. And instead, they're taking this consequentialist kind of perspective of the ends justify the means. You know, they say that they're for the things I'm for, but we all fucking know that they're not.
That's your analysis of the 1970s. That it was the fact that people were compromising, not the fact that people were just way more racist, anti-Semitic, and sexist back then. You're saying that they were actually very progressive and they were compromising back in the 70s.
Hold on. So
what fucking way did I say that? How stupid.
That's the implication of what you just said. You said that
you're trying to
it's just
draw
people
an implication from a statement from an example. You're being stupid. I don't engage with stupidity. Like just
you said that it's a result of people compromising.
No, I don't engage with absurd arguments. Just continue and make a real argument.
Okay, so
Wait, hold on. To
type
be
of
clear, wait,
Oh, you
hold
just
on, wait.
put
I want to
words
be
in my
clear. I want
mouth
to be
and then
super clear.
Okay.
So it sounded like your argument was that the Libertarian Party was advancing like two candidates. What did you say? A black person and a Jewish person, and you were like,
Black
wow,
openly gay
yeah,
person
and
and
you're
a
saying like,
Jewish
wow,
female,
this is an amazing thing or whatever. And it sounds like you're blaming the party system or whatever for these candidates not advancing. But I think Pisco's counter argument, like, well, maybe back then people just weren't ready for gay black people to be in these positions. I think that's, considering our history on gay and black people, is that really that controversial of a statement to make?
No, but he's saying that I said things that I didn't say.
No,
so
but
I
you're
don't
saying
engage
that,
with that argument.
if people compromise, you're saying the result of us having this slew of candidates that the Democrats didn't put those people forth, or the reason why the Libertarian Party did not was not able to advance that candidate was because of compromising instead of substantive political disagreement, which I would posit
this is a non sequitur. Like I feel like a lawyer should just, like, I don't know, go back to undergrad or something, take like a logic 101 class, right? Like these are not.
I'm being illogical.
Things. Okay. No, you are. Like you're trying to straw man, put words in my mouth, and
it was one of the most embarrassing syllogisms I've ever seen constructed on the spot, Pisco.
Let's go to counterpoints.
Yeah, so I had a question actually for Destiny, since he seems to be the person who's like most comfortable with like the two-party system or whatever.
Hell yeah, I love two parties.
I mean, it seems like you do. So the question, or my question would be like, do you have any particular objection to like? I've heard you say in the past that like caucuses can oftentimes represent the diversity in political thought that the two-party system doesn't. Do you have any problems with kind of like the what do they call that, like ranked choice voting, where like
people want to make a different type of
the worst of two evils or whatever?
I know what ranked choice is. Yeah, if anybody wants to do ranked choice voting, that's fine.
Maybe Listen, buddy, you're a fucking
everybody knows what ranked choice voting is, because
genius.
it's one of the hot button topics, okay? Listen, I'm about to give some more free life advice to every third party person here, okay? All the progressives, okay? There are so many people in this country that walk around and their thoughts are, everybody would vote for my people if they just lived by their principles or knew what we stood for, okay? At some point, okay? At some point, I know we just went through a whole opioid crisis and we had marijuana shit. At some point, the copium is going to run out, and you've got to realize maybe my positions, my policies just aren't actually as popular with the American people as I wish they were. Or maybe I actually, for the most popular policies I have so much overlap with the mainstream parties that nobody would actually look and consider our positions. I think that at some point people have to stop thinking that everybody would vote for me if they just knew what my shit was. Progressives do the same shit in the US, and I see third party people do all the time. And it's like a non-argument. You can't engage with it. Like, okay, yeah, I guess they would all vote if they lived by their principles. I don't know how anybody's supposed to argue against that.
I mean, I'm not asking you to prove a negative or anything.
No, but hold on. Stop using the debate terms. Jesus. The problem is that like it seems like the feeling that I get, maybe it's just me because I'm not listening well or whatever. The feeling that I get is always this idea that like everybody would vote for us if they were just a little bit smarter, or if they just knew a little bit more, or if they understood us. But at some point, whether it's 30 or 40 or 50.
You never said that.
You literally said that. You because people
Destiny, I think you're having flashbacks to your infrared debate.
No,
saying
the
that
Libertarian
maybe
Party
people
just
should
isn't
vote for
getting
their-
popular enough because other people don't like the specific identity of those
Yeah,
candidates.
there's so many-
You're blaming it on the voters rather than the campaign staff who probably fucked up, rather than the
Or you
policy
can,
people
or let's
who
just
probably
let him
fucked up for
answer.
every single step in between.
Why do you think these third parties aren't as
the
popular?
fucking government, right? I fucking hate the idea of government, but I have to engage with it, right, as much as possible. I'm simply suggesting, right, that maybe, right, instead of trying to find maverick candidates that go against your party, right, instead of voting down ticket and being like, we've got to stop the Republicans, so we're going to vote Democrat, and I'm going to try and find a maverick Democrat that'll push the Democratic Party in the position I want, right, and then you just end up voting 90% of the time
results
for
in Trump.
politicians that you don't
Trump is in
fucking
small
like.
government. Trump is in small government. That just results in Trump. If everyone had listened to you, we would have Trump. If the Democrats listened to you,
That is ridiculous.
How is it
it's
ridiculous?
the opposite?
Asinine argument.
Oh my god! So Obama was small government, and that got us Trump. Is that what you're saying? Because Obama was nothing but
if
small
people
government.
listened to you and didn't vote for Biden because they're waiting for like the libertarian candidate, presumably, let's say you're talking to a largely Democrat audience right now, or a left-wing audience right now, we would have President Donald Trump second term.
Maybe.
And that's not small government in my mind.
Well, I mean, neither is Biden.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
Biden.
so
Yeah, you know, like, what's the argument
we
about
have big government that isn't horrific like Trump, and it's I think better. Or do
Okay,
you,
I mean,
you
you can
don't see a
have an
difference between
argument.
Biden and
You can
Trump?
have an argument about whether or not Trump or Biden is better, right? I'm simply saying, right, that
But don't look to consequences.
We
Don't
engage with this entirely new
everyone
discussion.
dies or everyone's worse off or people, who cares if people are actually like in
What are you talking about?
horrible conditions?
I know what he's talking about.
This has nothing. This is not a new discourse. This isn't a new discussion. This is like literally like the fallout from exactly what you're talking about. Like a lot of times, people end up choosing the lesser of two evils because otherwise,
Evil is evil.
Right, well,
It's
okay,
not
sure,
the lesser.
No, hold
sure,
on.
but sure, evil is evil, but let's not act like there aren't degrees to things, right? Like Donald Trump can have an entirely different evil, and so people oftentimes can recognize that, like the harm that this person is doing to the environment, like all of them rolling back regulations and all sorts of nonsense, that these things are worthy of saying, I'd rather a Democrat than to have 4 more years of this guy's, because it literally seems like we could probably end up in a civil war if we give him 4 more years, and that might outweigh anything else. So, like, I don't know, it seems nice to just be able to say, I don't care about consequences. I don't care about how anything is implemented. I don't care about like any practicality whatsoever. All I'm saying is that like we should just stop doing this thing. And it's an easy position that you get from your ridiculous and
I'm not saying those things.
You are basically.
I'm not.
You
I'm not
100%
saying
are
those things.
saying that.
No, what I'm saying is that you should vote, if you're going to vote at all, you should vote for your principles, right? When you vote for the lesser of two evil, right? What you end up doing, you end up with
You're
a
just
shit
repeating
standard.
yourself, Fabian. But my point is, if voting your principles if voting your principles, the outcome of that is to get 4 more years of Donald Trump, then at this point your principles don't mean anything. You can repeat all day, I think you should vote your principles. We're saying here's the negative ramification for voting your principle.
The problem is that you're engaging with probability and you don't know what the future outcomes are. So you go away from your own ethical positions, right, in order to vote the lesser of two evils, in the hopes that it's better than the outcome of the other evil, but you voted in evil.
You're
right?
assuming
Hold on,
the
let's just real quick. Let's just get this out of the way. Hold on. This never needs to be said again, okay? Every single election that you do is the lesser of two evils. There is never going to be a non-quote unquote evil thing because you're never going to have a candidate that 100% represents every single position that you have. So that idea of voting between the lesser, it's still evil. It's still, like, that's going to be every single election ever unless you're literally voting for yourself. So that is a total nonsense argument.
Well, you could vote for yourself.
True.
Yeah, but it's completely pointless if you're not going to win. The perfect is the enemy of the good. The perfect is completely the enemy of the good. There's never Joshua for Congress is not going to be running for president and get every single leftist vote out there tweeting out the craziest shit, or that guy who say we shouldn't have driver's licenses or licenses to put a toast in your own damn toaster is going to be winning anytime soon. Ironically enough, if we're just saying we should just vote for third parties because it matches our principles the most, but it actually doesn't result in our principles being passed, it doesn't result in any sort of co-ops, all it results in our vote not fucking mattering. Ironically enough, by voting for libertarian or green, you are being antithetical to your own principles. You're using strategy. You're actually fucking yourself over.
You're voting for evil, and you admit by saying
it's not voting for evil. You are voting. People are not literally saying, okay, people are literally looking at the platforms between Democrats and Republicans, and they see that the Democratic platform aligns better with their values than what Republicans are. It's not, oh, I think the Democrats are less evil. It's that the Democrats align with my policies better. True. That's what they believe is less evil, which is perfect. They should be voting based on what can get their principles passed the most. So if they believe the Democratic platform does it better, they can vote Democrat. Not fucking vote third party where they get 2 fucking votes, nobody ever cares, and then Joshua for Congress walks away with 0.7% of the entire fucking vote to a dead guy.
Fabian, also, you're part of the same hypocrisy because by your own admission, you are compromising by engaging in this electoral process because
we have no choice. We have no choice.
Okay, then you're doing the same thing. You're not aligning with your principles because you're not voting for people who call for the end of the American government, and so you're engaging in the same hypocrisy that all of us are doing.
You know what? He is aligning with his values so much better by voting for people who can, at least from a strategic, pragmatic perspective, try and get some degree of his policies pushed than just trying to go full fucking third party and just pray, just hope that maybe if voters aren't as stupid, maybe we somehow get enough money, maybe we just get enough retweets on Twitter, that maybe somehow we'll get enough to win a local city council seat.
Can I please, for the love of God, fucking address
this shit? Can Fabian answer my point? Isn't he engaged in the same compromise that we are? He's voting for lesser of two evils, which is someone who more aligns with his principles, but they're not saying they're anti-government entirely.
So you can chew on your bone in a second. FLS, please, for the love of God, because I think I can fucking give y'all a bridge to cross, and then you can fucking burn it right in front of my face.
Connor, the great mediator. Let's get it.
Fucking centrist.
Centrist cop.
Try again. So I mean, what this really boils down to, because like FLS, we've actually had this conversation in the past where you said like you have like a principled analysis from deontology. You don't want to violate your principles in order to do a lesser of two evils. Utilitarian calculus, and on top of that, because we're a majority of us are making utilitarian calculi to justify our evil shit. That's why evil shit in the world is being perpetuated. Okay, and then this can also boil down to like individualism versus collectivism, because like liberal and libertarianism is individualistic. Fascism and communism are oftentimes collectivist. Okay, and then so my point being is that like there is another option, which is communitarianism, or the mix between the two, which is basically like having your principles, trying to violate them as little as possible, but still using the utilitarian calculus as much as you can without like necessarily grossly violating your principles. And the reason why I bring this up is not because like I'm trying to get the utilitarians to stop being utilitarian or trying to get the individualists to stop being individualist, but because it's like for you guys, it kind of seems like if everybody got on the same page and we all start practicing individualism and our principles and all that kind of stuff, the world would be a better place collectively. But because we don't, we fail that. But non-participation is also not bloodless. You can have like your hands clean because you didn't participate in the fucking system or whatever, but your lack of participation also does like foster different fucking outcomes. So that's what I'm saying. It's like you have to have a conversation between these two moral paradigms, or else you end up completely in Pisco's camp where you just want everybody to do heroin, including 2-year-olds, or you end up in FLS's fucking camp and you want everybody to do heroin, including 2-year-olds. So, but for different reasons.
But there's a difference. So what the problem is you're creating an either or scenario, right? Like there's dual power theory. There's the idea of like voting local sheriffs in, right? That align with all of your views that are libertarian, like anti-drug war and pro-Second Amendment, right? There's agorism, right? Like refusing to engage with laws in terms of the economy and just circumnavigating shit, like individuals that, let's say, sell raw milk by selling memberships to a community, or selling it as pet milk or things like that, right? Like there are other ways of engaging the fight against the state that don't require you to.
You're voting, and you're compromising, aren't you? You're voting for someone who doesn't align with you politically perfectly, and in fact, almost I don't know if there's any libertarian candidate who says I want to dissolve the American government. And so, aren't you engaged in the very same hypocrisy that you're accusing us of?
I mean, absolutely, yes.
Okay, so then don't criticize us for that.
No. I mean,
he's not engaging in that.
What are you talking about? You can be a hypocrite and still say that something is wrong, right? It doesn't change the argument. I fully and wholly admit, right, that I have voted in my life, and that is a moral conundrum that I personally struggle with. Because I'm not sure whether or not, right? I'm okay with saying that I'll take that L, right?
And you're consequentialist.
It's not just about being an L. It's really hypocritical, and I mean, it's not just about being a hypocrite either. It's almost like it's really short-sighted, right? Because most of the time, I think most of us would admit like that we're not trying to operate out of hypocrisy. The problem is, like, once your hands are tied and you're kind of forced into doing something, then it's like, okay, so now we've done that. We've made this hard choice, right? We had no choice, and so we did whatever the frick we had to do. And so like that's the world that we're in right now, and it's almost like you're posturing around this idea about like, oh man, if people didn't do that thing, it wouldn't be a problem. And it's like, no, but you've been given the same opportunity and you've made those decisions, because that's pretty much
I've made mistakes.
Right. It's not. No. It's no. It's not just about. It's not. It's
a mistake.
It's not just about making a mistake. It's about the fact that you literally don't have a choice. So you're doing the same thing that everyone else is doing when presented with the exact when presented with the exact same options. And instead, now on the other side, having done that, now you're like trying to like cast aspersions against everyone else for doing the same thing that you know that you've done.
Right?
Yeah, you are, dude. You're saying maybe if people didn't compromise, we'd have a better life, but you're compromising by your own admission.
Yes, absolutely, right? But that doesn't mean that you can, like, we're engaged. We're like, I'm not the arbiter of the fucking universe, right? Like, we're engaged in a discussion about, like, how we can make things better, what our problems are, how we can.
That's consequentialism talking. You said evil is evil. It was categorical. Yes, you are. What you're doing is a total.
Please define consequentialism then.
So you're basing your decision. Your decision making is based on outcomes. It's based on consequences, because you're telling me that, notwithstanding the fact that who you're voting voting for is evil. They don't agree that we should shut off the government and we should do that.
You just equated ethics with consequentialism because you don't
your
know what you're
decision-making
talking
opera.
Wait, hold on. Wait,
You're
just to
so
be clear.
smart.
Wait, just to be clear, consequentialism is a totally valid normative ethical system. To say that equating ethics to consequentialism means you don't understand consequentialism is ridiculous. You don't understand consequentialism or normative ethics. That's what you're trying to say. Stop using the fucking debate bro terms. Go back to the argument. Jesus.
No. There are 3 forms of normative ethics.
Yes, you've got virtue ethics, deontology, and consequentialism. Consequentialism is a totally valid application of any metaphysical theory. I'm just saying, don't just stop saying.
How are you not? How are you not?
Throwing around.
I was
Stop
engaging in consequentialism.
How are you not? How are you
Because I
not?
was engaging because I'm engaging in virtue ethics and I'm engaging in deontology.
I'm sorry. How are you engaging in virtue ethics by voting?
Oh my God! How many times are you going to equate things I'm not saying and then link them
Vote,
together?
right? You vote.
It seems like everybody on that panel is having a problem rephrasing what you're saying. I don't know if that's all of our problems or.
Well, maybe if we were all just smarter, we would all understand what he's saying. You know, maybe
You said voting was wrong. You said
they don't listen to our panels.
Yes,
if they all
voting
actually
is wrong.
understood the vote,
Some
follow their
principle.
principles, and
So you
follow their
do. So you do wrong things, don't you?
Yes,
You
I
do.
have done bad things.
Okay. So
There's a
then,
whole list of bad things. Some
what's
of
the
them are
right thing to
POS,
do?
boys.
What's the right thing to do? Is it something you can say
In my opinion, would be not to vote.
See, hold on. But you guys just missed it. Gappy just annihilated anarchism and individualism because we're all too fucking stupid to be anarchists or individualists because we can't even grasp what's being told to us. So I think the Libertarian Party should be fucking disbanded because we're not fucking 10-head enough in order to participate in narco-capitalist, fucking politics.
Okay, at the end
First
of
of all,
the end,
you don't all have to be there. You just let me have my little place. You guys can stay. in
We'll
your
elect
America.
you the king of anarcho-capitalism.
No,
Sounds
you
good.
just give us
No
some
king.
land and let us do our thing. You don't all got to come, boys.
getting back to the actual original issue, I don't think what Scott is suggesting by just voting for a third party, I don't think that it's
Oh, he said don't vote. Sorry. He said don't vote.
Don't vote. Okay, well we're saying don't vote. I don't think it's
That's your prescription, right? Don't vote.
My personal prescription.
Not vote
of
for a
what I
third
think
party.
is- Pisco, why do you keep answering questions
My bad.
with things that I'm saying and then yelling at me when I'm trying to answer the goddamn question? If you're gonna ask me a fucking question, let me answer the question. My personal moral position is that it is wrong to vote. My position for the rest of you people that clearly believe that voting is moral, I'm simply saying maybe if you voted on your principles, we'd be in a better position. There are ways to get towards the end goal. Right? I'm not going to live in fucking anarchy.
If we're not voting,
that thing that you're talking about only is even remotely close to possible in a world in which literally, like, there is a specific party, right? Because right now we're in a dichotomy, right? Like we have obviously Republicans and Democrats. Neither one of those, right? So neither one of those parties fully encompass like what I believe in at all, right? Like you can't. So then obviously, then that means now if I'm voting my principles, that means I'm still going to be torn between which principles I value more than the others, right? Because like the conservatives are going to have certain things that I value, and then, so then now you're saying I should just 100% withhold my vote until one party fully encapsulates everything that I believe in, and all the rest of Americans should do that as well. And when we all recognize how broad politics can be, then that means now you're basically just advocating for the entire coury not to vote.
Guys, listen, I
You might as well
got
just have a
FLS.
monarchy. Wait, can you respond to that really quickly, Fabian? Did anything I say there, was any of that wrong?
What I'm saying is that the most moral position, from my opinion.
You're not going to answer my question? Okay.
He's getting there.
I'm answering your question.
You won't.
Stop
Go
getting
ahead.
triggered. I'm saying the most moral position that I believe in is not voting. That being said, it is more moral to follow your principles as best as possible than to abandon your principles for the sake of winning.
Wait, so to be clear, so in the hypothetical, wait, one second. So in the hypothetical that Fnatic just gave, are you saying that it would still be immoral in that situation to vote for that person who totally agrees with every one of your positions?
I mean, if you magically found someone that voted for that believed in like literally every one of your positions, and you like it would still be immoral from the sense that it's a government, right? And like if you're giving them power and they win, there will be people that disagree with that person, and it's still tyranny of the majority. It's still against freedom. It's still against liberty. It's still against.
But isn't it? Wait, one second. But isn't it? Wait, hold on. But when we're talking about serious things like war or like civil rights, things like this, if you remove yourself from the equation because you're hung up on a particular position that a politician might have, Like, isn't that immoral? Because now
You're not
you're
removing yourself
in
from the
effect.
equation. You're just
Well,
not
you are.
voting.
Not voting is in
this
fact
whole
a vote
idea
for
that
the
you
other side,
have this
because you not
civic
voting,
duty to
it
vote
means
is
you not voting means they get one less vote, right? Where they would have had to vote otherwise. So you're in effect helping their opposition, right? So why isn't that immoral?
Well, because you're playing into the immoral paradigm by giving into it in the first place. That's what I would say.
Exactly.
No.
But at the same, but hold on.
You are.
I've been trying to meme for fucking 10 minutes. Nobody's letting me do it. This is just fucking like ANCAP accelerationism, though. He's telling everybody to vote on your fucking principles. That way, worse and worse fucking political parties get into the fucking state. They trash everything, and then we all become anarchists. So this is just ANCAP acceleration.
But you're immoral if you do that. But you're immoral if you do that.
Why would I not want anarchism? Like,
It's
what are
it's
you
a-
talking
it's,
about?
it's
Because the
absolutely
public-
wait. Just to be clear, this is like year one of your life that you should learn this. Okay, inaction is a form of action, and to pretend
It's not.
otherwise is to be intellectually and
It
morally
absolutely is.
bankrupt.
There's
We know this.
positive,
We
negative,
know
and
that. We
neutral.
know this intuitively. If you're standing next to a child that falls into a pool and you watch him drown when you could lean over pick him up, even in an intuitive sense, people will like condemn you for your moral inadequacies. Okay, and we know this on a larger sense. If
Not
you look
Lucas.
at, we could, yeah, maybe not. If you look at the outcomes of events, for instance, let's say there's a party that would vote against war and another party that would vote for war, and part of your personal beliefs is to be morally opposed to war, but you decide to withhold your vote because you believe that acting within that paradigm somehow like makes you an evil person. You are putting a finger on the other end of the scale by removing a finger from the other, and that's how it works, right? More
Destiny, you have revealed yourself. See, this is the problem with consequentialism, right? Because you're engaging with probability. The system itself is evil. Every president, with the exception of Joe Biden, for the last 100 years has run as an anti-war president. Even Ronald Reagan ran with the idea of fighting the Cold War to not have open warfare, right? It wasn't until later that he was like, oh, we got to stop them there so we don't have a mass global war. He even his pro-war
What does this have to do with
stance-
anything that I
Obama
said?
ran as a
Because-
pro-war
because
candidate.
Obama ran as an anti-war candidate.
no, hold
No,
on.
pro-Afghanistan war.
Hold on.
No, he's pro-Afghanistan war. I'm sorry. Did you miss my
that was
statement? where-
afterwards. He ran.
No, it wasn't. He was in a debate. Read the book. Read him. Watch the debates where he's
It
pushed
doesn't
on the
matter. It
Afghanistan
doesn't
war.
matter. Fuck Obama. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
ran
Fabian,
as
even-
wait, Fabian.
yeah, this
No,
is
he
just-
didn't.
Wait,
He was
hold on,
pro-Afghanistan
Fabian.
war.
Wait, stop, Fabian. Can you respond to the initial question? Right. So if a child is drowning and someone has the ability to save that child and they do nothing, would you not morally condemn that person?
Like, well, so he's attributing me a position I don't hold. I'm not saying
Well,
that
that's
not
what I'm
voting.
asking.
I'm not saying that not voting is not a form of action. I'm saying it is a form of action. It's a choice that I make to not vote. To
Yeah,
not.
but can
engage
you
in
what can you
evil
answer?
system.
I'm just curious for the child drowning in the bathtub. Do you think that would be immoral to not save the child?
Obviously.
Okay,
Okay,
so
no,
if you
I
let's
got
say
a better
wait,
one.
hold on. So let's say that there are 100 people in a room, okay, and let's say there are three candidates that come up. One is pro-war, murder everybody. The other one is pro-war, murder a couple people, and the other one is your ideal anti-war person. But you know that ideal anti-war person is never going to win, okay? But you know that the ultra pro-war person, that guy is going to get 48 votes. Do you join the other, 49 people voting for the lesser war person, or do you withhold?
That's the thing I was talking about with the probability, right?
Hold on.
Is that,
Wait, stop.
You're
Please stop.
assuming
Wait, no,
probability.
just stop using
You're
words,
assuming
okay?
probability.
You're assuming
Because
probability.
Why
because
wouldn't
that's
you?
the
We live
world
in a
we live in.
probabilistic reality.
Oh, yeah, hold on. You are part of a system, whether you like it or not, where your vote can change the outcome of. You can't remove yourself from that system by not voting. You're still part of it, right?
I mean, I'll just quote Emma Goldman here. If voting changed anything, they wouldn't let you do it.
Okay,
Oh, come on, you don't
what
believe
what
that.
an absolutely
What?
ridiculously
How
stupid
AOC
statement.
got it, that's
okay?
how the Justice
Wait,
Dems
no,
have done all this
but I'm
shit.
just saying
They
that by
100%.
not voting, you are actively supporting, whether you like it or not, through outcome, the winner that you probably don't want the most by not voting for the guy that you would have regretted least partially.
That's just a bullshit argument.
Okay, it's
How is it
just-
bullshit? You saying it's bullshit doesn't
pure-
make it bullshit.
Factually
You
and
are-
Wait, hold
functionally
on.
true.
Wait,
I'm
hold on.
sorry.
Because you're
You've told
engaging
us-
with probability.
Fabian,
What's
Fabian,
engaging
you've told us-
with? I don't.
Well,
The
you're not
alternative that we're
voting
giving
your
here in this-
you're not engaging in your principles.
Hold on.
The alt-
None of this has to do with probability. Even this is engaging
It
with.
does.
It does. It
does.
does.
No, no,
You're
hold on.
assuming that you have the 48% of the.
Hold on.
of the war guy.
It is not engaging with probability. What I'm saying is, let's say
It
that
is.
you functionally have a choice between a really bad
You
candidate.
voted for Obama, right?
You don't worry about who I voted for, okay? I voted for Ron Paul, but thank God I grew up, okay? So listen, you have two choices, okay?
I love it.
You've got right two choices between two candidates that can realistically win. One is a super evil guy, and one is a kind of evil guy. And you could be the deciding vote between the two You abstaining. from
Destiny,
that
no,
process,
right there. You're sneaking in the probability right there. You
okay,
could be.
never
No,
mind.
everyone's
Oh,
publicly committed.
That's a
No, no.
probability
Believe it or
argument.
not, when
You're
you
fighting
vote,
this
there's a
hypo.
chance that your vote might actually be the
You
one
voted
that
for Joe
decides.
Biden, right?
Yes,
when you have
you're
three
assuming
people in a
probability.
room and they all
You're
decide where
assuming
they're
probability
going to eat,
again.
you might be
Oh,
the one
God.
that out of the two of the. Believe it or not, when there's three people in a room and they all decide where to go and fucking eat, you might be one of the two people who end up being the majority decision. I don't know why we're suddenly saying, "Oh, well, we have no idea what."
No,
the
the
fuck's going to
problem is
happen.
that it's
You're all
the
going
problem
to
is that the
probability
problem is
shit.
that I'm trying to use
Maybe
a
that
real
won't
world.
matter.
The problem is I'm trying to use a real world example, but they're ANCAP, so they can't engage with it. That's the
They
problem.
can't engage with the hypo.
Hold on. Wait, one second.
We're too fucking.
It's even.
If we were
oh,
all
God.
just smart enough to understand their platform and we all just went
I
to a
get
bunch
it.
of more of the meetings,
This-
we would all fucking understand it.
That's great. So, but Fabian, I think it's even worse than you're saying, because you're not just you right now. You're on a platform in front of thousands of people, and you're encouraging these people not to vote. You're actually telling them that it's immoral to vote, right? So, if we were to look at like recent elections, some of these elections have been razor fucking thin, right? Where the ability of someone like you to get on a platform and to encourage people not to vote because it's immoral if they're not voting 1,000% for every principal position they have, might sway elections in some places, right?
So let's say, but here's the thing, right? You vote for Joe Biden, right? And let's say you vote for Joe Biden. You're like, oh, awesome, right? You have to understand that you're engaging in supporting a system that perpetrates so much evil. And the idea that like, oh, well, the Democrat is going to be slightly less evil than the Republican. You're voting not just for the candidate, but for the system itself. And the system itself is one that upends countries in fucking fucking regime change wars that has been doing fucked up shit since the fucking Eisenhower.
Just to be clear, this isn't even philosophically wrong. This is just absolutely wrong. You support the system by living and existing here. That's how the system is supported. Absolutely
true.
If every single libertarian country stopped voting, you're not doing a single thing to upend the system. If our voter turnout rate was 10%, you're not doing a single thing to upend the system.
You're keeping it in the box of
No.
You pay taxes, don't you? Fabian, you pay taxes? Fabian, you pay taxes? Fabian, you pay taxes? Fabian, do you pay taxes?
Hold on, Fabian. If you had a situation where you recognize
my threat of violence, yes.
Fabian, if you had a situation,
do you support the system?
Fabian, if you were in a
No, I'm not supporting the system.
Fabian, if you were in a situation where you had like, I don't know, a president that like literally was running on genocide, he was 100% telling you that he was going to do genocide, and that's why he wanted to become president, for that power to be able to do so. Okay, he was going to do it through executive order immediately day one. Okay, and you knew that he was running on that. However, like maybe whatever, like that's what the Republican.
My answer to your question is not TOS friendly. That's my answer to your question.
No, you're pulling a Vivian.
You can't even organize people into a fucking convention room. Your non-US friendly answer is never going to fucking happen. I'm sorry.
Just to make sure. So you're saying that you believe that it would be immoral. I'm sorry, it would be moral to abstain from voting, knowing that the person was going to commit genocide.
And
It would also be moral to water the tree of liberty with the blood of patriots and tyrants.
Yep.
It would be just as immoral to vote against him.
No, it would be less.
It would be less.
So the reason why people vote in these systems, despite them feeling that not both parties match what they want, is completely because they believe in their fucking principles, that they are far more principled than anyone who votes for a third party, and they understand that they're not going to be able to fucking delete the system within the next fucking several months. Okay, so instead of just abolishing and saying, well, we can't do shit,
you can't just you know the difference between preferences and principles. You know the difference between principles and
Explain it to us. What's the difference?
I'm asking you. Do you know it?
I don't know how you mean it.
They are trying to progress their principles through this fucking system, okay? It's not literally, I am trying to make sure that electoral politics stay in. They're voting because they want to make sure DACA stays on. They're voting because they want to keep their fucking healthcare or some shit. Those are the principles they're fucking fighting for, unless we're trying to get into some philosophical fucking bullshit and do more fucking trolley.
Explain it, Smarties, explain it.
Policy position is not a principle. Fucking Lucas, you do it.
Lucas, you do it. No, you. Someone define it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'll do it. So a principle is something that you hold like in a moral weight, right? Like
and more weight than a preference. Those just
are you gonna allow me to fucking speak, or are you just gonna keep talking over me like you've been doing for this whole panel to everybody? Okay, thank you. So a principle, it's a moral position that you hold. So it's like a line that you're not willing to cross for something, right? A preference is something that, all right, this is kind of bad, but I'll take this over this. That you're not doing that based on principle. That's a preference.
So principle is something you would never cross, right?
It's a line. Yes, it's a line
Yeah,
that you
so-
said. That's
okay,
a principle.
So when you vote, you're breaking principles, right?
Okay, and
Both of you.
And I'm sorry.
We
I'm
have
sorry to
already
break it,
answered that.
but
We've already
I'm sorry to
answered
break
that. Why
it,
do you
but in
keep
the-
going back to it?
Because my question is, are you planning to vote in the future, Lucas and Fabian?
No, I'm not planning on voting in the future.
Lucas, will you commit to not voting in the future?
No, actually, local sheriff election where
Why?
something aligns with all of my ideals.
Yeah.
As a system of fighting the system itself.
But wait, no, sorry, that's a compromise.
Only if
isn't
it's
it?
fighting the system itself.
I mean,
So-
no sheriff is going to say, "I want to destroy rule of law that empowers
no.
my office," right?
Well, sheriffs might say things like, I will intentionally not enforce the drug war, and I will
No, but
intentionally
we're
not
talking about
enforce
his
unconstitutional
office.
laws."
The fact of a police officer existing, a sheriff existing, is an affront to your philosophy, isn't it? Or sorry, your political framework. The fact of a sheriff.
Like as a public office, yes.
Yes. Okay. And so you voting for a sheriff itself would be a compromise and unethical, wouldn't it?
Well, I just said because it would be against the system itself.
Do you think there's going to be a sheriff who is in favor of abolishing his office?
There are already, but
Wait, hold on. But you're one second.
I mean, like, are they going to be?
So you said that there might be a sheriff that refuses to enforce a certain law, but they'd still be enforcing other laws that you probably have an issue with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you'd still vote for that sheriff, even though he's going to be enforcing those other laws, because he's not. Okay, then why are you encouraging people? Why are you encouraging people?
Brilliant point. Right.
Then why are you encouraging people not to vote for politicians that they agree with because they might be opposed to some other principal position that they have? If you're saying that you do that, if you're saying that you would do that, why are you here encouraging people not to do that?
The reason why
because
Scott
there's
would
an
do
axiomatic fucking fundamental fucking position here. Okay, the fundamental fucking position here is the fact that they don't want to fucking violate a principle, because if a principle is malleable by the threat of force, hold on. If a principle is malleable by the threat of force and you hold a principle because somebody is threatening you with that fucking principle, then they don't view that as a principle, they view it as a preference. But hold on, because there's a fucking underlying argument for this entire thing, which I don't think Lucas or FLS fucking believe in, but I do, which is basically, I'm going to butcher it again, but it's from a story from the Bhagavad Gita. It's basically like a young prince who's about to go into battle against some of his family members, and he's wishing that he didn't have the mantle of responsibility and the mantle of power, and he's like talking to God or some shit. Yeah, and then God basically says, like, hey, you running into the forest is its own form of action, and like you're in the, I'm gonna butcher it, but like you're in the fucking stomach of the world already. Guess what? You don't really have inaction as an option to you. Like, you are going to have to make a choice here. And as a result, he, basically grew some nutsack, and he said, all right, I'm gonna go do the battle so I can, manifest my power in the world in order to make the world a better place. So, totally fucking butchered it. All the fucking Hindu people can get butthurt about it. My point is that if you extract this principle and then you apply it, my lesson from this is that power is going to be manifested in the world regardless of whether or not your fucking principles are. The only thing that you can do is you can fucking incrementally change the world through your rhetoric and through your influence on people around you in order to have like an incremental
They don't believe in that, though.
agenda. Yeah, but that's because I feel like the worldview is fundamentally flawed because they view inaction.
I do too. So let's put the fire to them and get public commitments that unless you're voting for a sheriff who wants to abolish their office or a politician who wants to destroy America, you are not going to vote. I want public commitments from both of you.
But this isn't how principles work, and I wish I could.
No, that's how it works for them. No. Wait. That's how it works for them. Lucas just said it's a line that you do not cross, and I'm assuming that you don't want to do anything immoral. So I want public commitments from both of you that unless the politician you're voting for,
here's the prosecutor. Here's the prosecutor.
Will you commit to it? Will you commit to it?
Lucas is young. I have hope for him. FLS is older.
I want commitments. I want public commitments. Will you commit to it? Yes or no? Will you commit to it?
Pisco, I already said yes.
Okay, Lucas.
But like the rest of the time, you haven't been listening.
Okay, I didn't hear Lucas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lucas, just say yes or no. Come on, let's go.
Yes.
I got. Okay.
Go on, counterpoint. Finish what you were saying.
Hold on. So I just want to say that, so for the young people out there, inaction is its own action. And I don't think that a principled inaction, when you can see the demonstrable harm in the world, is something that you need to get behind. And this is actually like a fascist talking point that I kind of learned is like, hold on. Power is going to be implemented one way or the other. All you can do is you can have an influence on the power that's wielded in the world. And from my experiences, okay, and because of my experiences with law enforcement and the military, power abhors a vacuum. So all you can do is you can have principled power that's responsive to the population that it serves, and that's the best you can do. I do not think anarchism is possible at all.
Are they
mostly
really serving us?
Because we don't have enough fucking brain power to get on FLS's fucking tier, dude. No, none of us do. Okay,
they're not.
We need the
Are they
state
really
to.
serving us?
Yeah,
They're not serving
Wait,
you
hold
guys
on, I
because
think-
you guys have you have nobody in the fucking country who agrees with that type of platform who cares about that compared to any other fucking party that's available.
Wait,
You're just committed to
Lucas,
not voting, and you want us to like support the Libertarian Party. The Libertarians themselves are just committed to not voting for the Libertarian Party.
We literally said
you might
would
agree with him
support-
about,
wait, no,
you
no,
might
no,
disagree
no,
with him
no,
about something.
no. We never said we wouldn't vote. We said we wouldn't vote for somebody that disagrees with our principles.
Well, Libertarians
but any
don't
of
agree
you-
with the
we
ending
said,
of the state.
wait. Some libertarians do. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, and that's
Okay,
also
no, wait, hold on.
individuals
But
within
no,
the Mises caucus
Lucas, what you guys have been saying is that unless somebody exists in the hypothetical that Fnatic presented, right, where they 1,000% support every one of your positions, it would be immoral to vote for that person. That's what you guys have been saying. Right?
Yes.
So I don't think either of you can find anyone in the Libertarian Party that exists today, right? That is that for you, right? So both of you are telling people that you wouldn't vote for anybody in the Libertarian Party.
But
You're also
I
telling
also-
other
want
people.
us to.
Right, but I also said that I would vote for someone, right, that was deconstructing the state, right? Because that is a principle of mine. I will empower someone to deconstruct the state.
But aren't statists always gonna fucking beat you because they're always gonna be interested in the power of the state? Like, so aren't you just kind of like just subscribing to perpetual impotence because you're trying to eliminate the power source that everybody else relies on?
You would have to agree that the statists will always win, and there have been examples where that is not necessarily true, right? The
For like
Republicans
6
go
months,
spy.
right?
No, the
Yeah.
Republicans
No,
go
the
spy
Republicans
was
spy.
what, like 300 years? Fought the papal
395.
state. Yeah, like 300, 400 years, right? They fought the
Can I-
papal state and created an anarcho-mutualist society that told the papal state to go fuck themselves and engaged in tobacco sales and things like that. I mean, like, so there are examples of that occurring, right?
Well, you said one. Do you have another?
I mean, there have been successful and unsuccessful communities, right? Like, I mean, that's one.
That
right?
just happens to be
so
the
we
one
have
closest to our
one-
preference.
Yeah,
I mean,
but,
like,
but
you have,
Can I
like,
ask?
I mean,
Can I ask?
you don't have
Sorry,
any
go ahead,
perfect
buddy.
representation of our ideology, no. But like, there's Chiron in Mexico. There was the Oneida community. There have been plenty of anarcho-mutualist communes that have existed. There's obviously been communist communes that have existed, right? There are examples. I mean, there's the Iga Sukuku Iki, right? Like, which was a kind of a mixture between anarchism and feudalism in Japan, right? Like, there's examples throughout
But
history.
can I
working for
throw
some
a
extent.
Destiny argument at you real quick?
We're running out of time here.
May I ask Lucas a quick question, please?
Very quick.
I'm
and we
really
have a hype
concerned.
train going on. If you guys could help out with that stuff, that would help. Go ahead.
I'm really concerned about something I thought I heard you say, Lucas. So when Destiny's mentioned this hypothetical about a drowning kid, right?
I was joking.
Okay, yeah, because you said that you.
I'm not a
okay.
deontologist.
Okay.
I follow virtue ethics and egoism.
Okay, so you're not total lost then. You just
No, I was joking.
Okay, thank you.